Okay, we're going to begin right now with how to write a pre-lab write-up in your lab notebook. Your lab notebook is your composition notebook in which you cannot tear any pages out. And I'm going to be using the first lab that we're going to be doing this week as the example for how to write up a lab notebook. So in your lab notebook already, you should have a table of contents on the very front page. And on that table of contents, you should already have page 1, in which you have already the lab safety equipment diagram that you drew. On the table of contents, you need to also make sure that you have the page number in which that can be found, that lab can be found, and you also need the date in which that lab was completed. So we did that lab on 8/19 of 16. The second entry in your table of contents is going to be page 2, and that is the basic lab procedures that we are going to be doing on September 1st of 2016. That title is actually at the very front or top of your lab procedure write-up information that I gave you on the internet on Planbook. So if we look in our lab notebook, moving from the table of contents, there's your lab safety equipment diagram. At the very top of your lab notebook, you need to have the title, Basic Laboratory Procedures. Notice it matches the title over here on your worksheet. You also need the date on which you're going to be performing the lab. So we are going to be beginning this on 9/1, as we had stated here on our table of contents. And then also I need for you to write whom your lab partner is for this lab, so that way I know how to cross-reference lab results. The objectives is the first thing that you're going to write, and that can be found directly on the sheet in which I provide for you. Sometimes you will have to come up with your own objectives based upon the procedures you're going to have to carry out in the lab. But you can see that I've got 4 different objectives here on the paper. You would just write those 4 objectives as seen on the paper here in your notebook. I also provide an introduction for just the overall laboratory. You'll find just some basic information here. It's also good to place that information in your lab notebook, your introduction. Now this lab is a little different because this lab you're going to have several different stations that you're going to have to complete. You have station 1, in which it's the determination of a boiling point of an unknown liquid. You also have station 2, in which you are going to be practicing filtration, and station 3, in which you are going to be figuring out density determination. So you have 3 different stations in which you're going to be writing up, so your write-up for this one is going to be slightly different. Beginning with station number 1, you see that I give you an introduction pertinent to just this station only. It is a good idea to also, underneath the general introduction for each station, and you don't see that I have that, to put your introduction, and then under your introduction you may want to put your materials and then your procedure. I left out my introduction on my stations accidentally. In your introduction, you need to make sure that you're aware of any pertinent information like vocabulary or equipment. These are a good indication, if they are in your introduction, that are something that you have to be familiar with. You'll also see that I have the materials listed out. You just copy those materials directly into your notebook as you see. And then procedures I also have listed on the worksheet. The first one says properly assemble the Bunsen burner to the gas outlet, ensuring that it is secure and no gas is able to leak from the outlet. And then I provide you a picture of exactly what it is that I'm actually wanting you to assemble. I give you safety instructions. Those you probably want to also put into your procedure also. Any drawings can actually be referred to on the left-hand side of your notebook. So that way you are familiar with any apparatus assembly that you need to do. So after you write your procedure, and you'll notice on the second point that I give you more information and more diagrams on assembling apparatus and good flames for your Bunsen burner, you'll finish reading and writing the procedure, understanding any disposal or safety implications that you need to be aware of. And you'll just write those into your notebook. Then you'll go to the next station, station 2, which is filtration. Once again, I give you an introduction of the filtration station. I give you the materials. I also give you procedures, and I give you illustrations on those procedures. Those will need to be copied into your notebook as well. And then from station 2, you'll do the same thing for station 3, which is located on the very last sheet of your paper. After you fill in all of station 1, station 2, station 3, introduction, material, and procedures, you are not finished with the lab write-up. Then you have to show me the data tables that you're going to collect all of your experimental data as you are in the lab in. You have to have these data tables ready to rock and roll before you get into the lab, because you will not have time to make the data table as you are collecting data. Therefore, I'm going to show you exactly how to write a data table. Most of the time it's just going to be a chart or a data table, but because these lab stations are slightly different, I'm going to help you with those. You're going to look at the next video in which I discuss how to set up data tables in your lab notebook.